a freelance journalist, in a very short reflection during the first week of March, described the Transfiguration as the actual shining light of the Spirit. The Transfiguration, one of the culminating events of Jesus' public life, took place on a mountaintop and in full view of Peter, James, and John. Jesus was transfigured into a radiance beyond their later description. In theology, the mountain is a place of ascent, not only outward, but also inward ascent. It is a liberation from the burden of everyday life, a breathing in of the pure air of creation. It offers a view of the broad expanse of creation and beauty. It gives one an inner peak to stand on and an intuitive sense of the Creator. Limerick-born theologian Cyril O'Regan, who teaches at Notre Dame University in the USA, in 2018 wrote an engaging article titled "The Point Where the Ugliness of Our Lives is Transfigured." O'Regan shares how he grew up in public housing on the outskirts of Limerick City, whose damp misery, he noted, was made famous by Frank McCourt's Angela's Ashes. Amid the poverty, unemployment, huge families, problems with drink, unwanted pregnancies, and incarceration of males, there were, O'Regan argues, enough examples of dignity in poverty to prevent hopelessness being inevitable. Humorously, he tells how the local community nicknamed the first child from the area to go to middle school as the professor. He also described a 20-something-year-old loner who lived nearby and how he ritually went on a drinking session every weekend. But as the pubs closed on Saturday night, he would play classical music, sometimes opera, most often Mozart. Looking back, Cyril O'Regan believes that he, Cyril, sensed this drunken musical ritual as a declaration of hope that beauty could and maybe would win out over the ugliness which enveloped lives and seeped into souls. Reflecting on this experience makes him ask why it was that the Catholicism that saturated the public lives of the people of Limerick at that time was not the vehicle of the promise of divine speech. Surely, he argues, that Catholicism could and should be able to mend lives, and mend them all the way down and across, so that we might see a pattern to it all, the shine in things, to feel one has been loved and one can love, to sense that we have been given the impossible power to forgive others and ourselves. The Transfiguration is a prayer event. It displays visibly what happens when Jesus talks with his Father, the profound interpretation of his being with God, which then becomes pure light. The Greek word for transfiguration is so difficult to translate into English that theologian Phyllis Tickle declares, being convicted of something one can neither own or ingest, articulate nor incarnate, is itself a glory beyond our grasping, whether we be ancient apostles or God's newest converts, which says that the truth of transfiguration always lies just beyond the reach of articulated theology and never within it. This week I sensed the shining light of the Spirit when I was introduced to the music of Sam Fender, a young man born near Newcastle in England. His third album is called People Watching, and the title track is a sing-along about grief. Something Heavy is a song about suicide that a postman might whistle, while Chin Up has a catchy melody about the cost of living crisis. Sam notes that his drug addict friends who are posh go to rehab, but his mates with issues from his hometown just die. Sam fills stadiums with joyous anthems for the left behind, transfiguring hopes for communities. I was also very moved by the story of James Coney, a projects editor at the Sunday Times, whose son Charlie has a genetic condition called Renew. Charlie requires perpetual care. James describes charities called Challengers and Green Frog Holidays and Unique, and how they support under pressure families like the Coneys. James writes, bringing up Charlie, it is the unexpected things that make you cry. Most recently for James, it was on a rare visit to a supermarket. Charlie had been full on, wanting to touch everything, screeching loudly with glee when he saw the freezer section. As James and Charlie left, a woman tapped James on the shoulder. She smiled and spoke, "You're doing a great job." Crumbling Empire is another Sam Fender song, almost perfectly crafted for the times we live in. As Germany now leads frantic EU efforts to rearm, it is clear that we are living in changing times. As Ukraine and Palestine wait and worry, it is time to make space for the shining light of the Spirit. Amen.